There exists a woman who navigates the world not by its loudest signals, but by its quietest frequencies. You've likely met her, or perhaps you feel this resonance within yourself. A presence that seems to understand the unspoken language of the soul. A quiet knowing that operates beneath the surface of ordinary interaction. This isn't about intellectual genius, but a profound perceptual intelligence, a way of being that the pioneering psychologist Carl Jung identified as a superior capacity for feeling. These individuals don't just experience emotion more deeply, they perceive through a different lens entirely. They interpret the hidden currents in a room, understand the symbolic narratives of dreams, and move through life guided by an internal compass, calibrated to truths that remain invisible to most. What we will uncover together are the 6 subtle markers of this profound inner knowing, traits that separate authentic spiritual intelligence from mere performance or heightened emotionality. These qualities often reside in the background of personality, frequently misunderstood by a world that prioritizes the tangible over the intuitive. Yet for those who embody them, these traits are both a profound gift and a sacred responsibility. A calling to bridge worlds while staying firmly rooted in this one. If these words stir a recognition within you, a sense of alignment with Jung's vision and the path of integrating both darkness and light, mark this moment. The first characteristic manifests as an innate capacity to read the emotional and energetic field of any environment. When she enters a space, the atmosphere doesn't just change, it recalibrates. This shift occurs not through anything she says, but through what she inherently senses and emanates. Jung saw this as the feeling function operating at its highest potential. Far from simple sentiment, this is a refined instrument of perception, detecting the subtle vibrations of truth, falsehood, sorrow, and hope that every person radiates. These individuals are living seismographs of the human spirit. They perceive the hidden strife between a smiling couple, feel the concealed grief behind a colleague's laughter, and sense the unstated motives within a friendly exchange. This is not imagination. It is a form of high-level pattern recognition operating on a channel most are not tuned to receive. Their neurological wiring, often refined through life experience or innate sensitivity, is designed to receive signals others filter out. The ancestral dimension is undeniable. Many carry the intuitive legacy of generations of women who honed this radar for survival. Foremothers who needed to interpret the emotional weather of a home to ensure safety, who could sense threat in a shift of tone or possibility in a stranger's posture. This inherited intuition flows through family lines like an underground stream of awareness, emerging in descendants who feel overwhelmed in bustling places, drained after social events, or inexplicably certain about someone they've only just encountered. Yet, this ability carries an inherent tension. To see with such clarity is to witness what others wish to keep veiled. To feel with such authenticity is to constantly encounter the gap between performance and reality. These individuals often find themselves in a state of solitude, not from a desire to be alone, but from the sheer weight of their accurate perception. They become reflectors of truths people are not prepared to acknowledge. Your sensitivity is your strongest signal, not your static. Have you ever entered a situation and immediately sensed an unseen tension, despite all outward appearances being calm? Have you ever felt an immediate, unexplainable distrust of someone that later proved to be deeply wise? This is the first sign of energetic literacy, a skill that positions these individuals as guardians of underlying reality. The second trait emerges from a deep, flowing connection to what Jung termed the collective unconscious, the vast, shared reservoir of archetypes and universal symbols that underpins all human experience. While many get fleeting glimpses of this realm in dreams or moments of inspiration, those with spiritual intelligence maintain an open line to this source of wisdom. They dream in metaphors that later unfold in their waking reality, experience meaningful coincidences with a regularity that defies logic, and receive intuitive insights that consistently prove correct. Jung noted that some people possess a more porous boundary to the ego, enabling them to access this collective wisdom without losing their sense of self. These individuals embody this rare ability. They act as interpreters between the symbolic and the everyday, translating the abstract language of the unconscious into practical understanding. A dream about a storm becomes insight into inner turmoil. A repeated encounter with a hawk becomes a message about perspective. A sequence of numbers becomes confirmation of being on the right trajectory. This link to the collective unconscious intensifies their experience of synchronicity. Where others see random chance, they recognize a conversation with a deeper intelligence orchestrating life behind the scenes. They learn to trust these navigational beacons, allowing them to move through life with a sense of flow and divine timing that seems magical to onlookers but feels entirely natural to them. They know the cosmos communicates in symbols and whispers, and they have cultivated the inner quiet to hear it. This phenomenon extends beyond personal guidance into service for the whole. They frequently find themselves precisely where they need to be to offer exactly what is required, not through calculation, but by following an invisible current of meaning. They become living bridges between dimensions, translating universal wisdom into human experience through their actions, their presence, and their very essence. Their lives become narratives of mythic quality, filled with encounters that feel arranged by a benevolent, unseen hand. This leads directly to the third characteristic, one that often perplexes those around them. These individuals consciously cultivate what can be called sacred solitude. They choose seclusion not from a dislike of people, but from a profound understanding. They grasp a truth that outward-focused cultures often miss. The most significant transformations occur in silence, far from the influences and energies of the crowd. Their solitude is not loneliness, it is soul work. Jung's process of individuation demands phases of withdrawal from collective pressures to discover one's true nature. These people intuitively respect this process, creating containers for their inner voice to rise above the din of social conformity. They know the difference between solitude that restores and isolation that harms, consciously choosing the former as a practice of self-care. When they retreat, they are not escaping life. They are plunging into its depths. The sacred quality of their alone time is evident in how they use it. Instead of distracting themselves, they engage in rituals that deepen their connection to inner knowing. They write, they contemplate, they make art, or they simply sit in stillness, allowing the chatter of the day to settle so that true clarity can surface. These periods of retreat become incubators for profound creativity and spiritual dialogue, where insights are received and understanding is fundamentally reshaped. Yet, this natural rhythm of engagement and withdrawal often confuses loved ones who see their need for space as aloofness or sadness. These individuals must learn to honor their energetic cycles without apology, understanding that their depth requires regular returns to the inner source. They discover that trying to maintain constant social connection depletes their spiritual reserves and weakens their capacity to serve others from a place of authenticity. Their solitude becomes a necessary act of preservation that ultimately enriches all their relationships. The fourth trait reveals perhaps the most powerful aspect of their intelligence, the ability to transmute personal pain into universal wisdom through what Jung called the transcendent function. These individuals do not merely survive suffering, they transform it. They willingly journey into their own darkness, confronting the shadows others spend a lifetime fleeing, and return bearing treasures found only in the depths of despair. This process mirrors the ancient archetype of the wounded healer, the one who gains the power to mend others precisely through intimate acquaintance with their own hurt. Jung saw this pattern in many of his patients, especially women who had faced profound trauma. Instead of remaining defined by their past, they converted their wounds into wells of compassion and insight that serve the wider healing journey. Their pain became their credential, their suffering, their certification to guide others on similar paths. The transcendent function works by holding opposing forces in balance until a new, higher understanding emerges. These individuals learn to embrace both their radiance and their shadow, their happiness and their sorrow, their power and their fragility. Rather than taking sides in the internal conflict, they become the vessel where these opposites unite, giving birth to a new level of awareness that transcends the original struggle. Their integrated wholeness becomes a lighthouse for those still navigating their own inner division. This alchemical work demands immense courage and a commitment to truth over comfort. They must be willing to feel everything completely, to resist the lure of spiritually bypassing their pain with superficial positivity. They learn that healing is not the eradication of wounds, but the conversion of wounds into wisdom. Their scars become sacred texts, maps for their own souls, and eventually for others seeking their own transformation. The responsibility that accompanies this wisdom is significant. Once you have turned lead into gold, once you have walked through fire and emerged refined, you become a steward of the collective healing process. These individuals often feel called to roles as guides, mentors, creators, or caregivers, using their transmuted suffering as balm for a hurting world. The fifth hallmark is felt more than heard. Jung described it as a therapeutic presence, a mode of communication that depends less on speech and more on the quality of being. For them, silence is never vacant. It is profound eloquence. Their quiet can mend in ways 1,000 speeches cannot. Often, the greatest gift they offer is not a solution, but the courage to sit with someone, to witness their reality without judgment or the need to fix what is unfolding. This form of connection bypasses the thinking mind and speaks directly to the heart. When such a person enters a space filled with anguish, her presence alone communicates, "You can endure this. You can emerge from this darkness with your light still shining." She doesn't need to recount her own battles or wrap them in motivational phrases. Her very existence, grounded, whole, and resilient, is the living proof that transformation is possible. Because they comprehend the power of language, they never wield it carelessly. For them, words are tools, not filler. Each one is chosen with intention, selected for precision rather than volume. They understand that speech can build or break, heal or harm. Where many speak without thinking, they express themselves thoughtfully, knowing that in restraint lies true impact. Their silence holds a fullness, an unvoiced empathy that contains more meaning than any chatter could. This discipline with expression extends to how they manage their energy. They have learned, often through hard experience, that sensitivity requires conscious stewardship. Not every environment deserves their complete openness. Not every discussion warrants their deepest attention. By honoring these natural limits, they can give generously without exhausting themselves. Like skilled conductors, they know when to let the music play and when to pause for the rest. It is no accident that people often feel lighter after even a short interaction with them. This is not random. They are, in essence, human tuning forks, vibrating at a higher frequency and unconsciously drawing others into alignment. They remind people of their own innate capacity for balance, for clarity, for peace. The sixth and final quality reveals itself not in their actions, but in what life brings to them. These individuals seem to inhabit a reality where meaning converges, where chance becomes sacred, where synchronicity is the norm. They do not pursue mystical experiences, they attract them. Their consciousness acts like a beacon, calling forth the people, opportunities, and events that further their evolution and the awakening of those around them. Jung termed this synchronicity attraction, the clustering of meaningful coincidences that cannot be dismissed as luck. Where others desperately seek signs, these individuals simply live in alignment, and the signs appear. Their lives unfold like sacred stories, filled with chapters arranged by an unseen, intelligent hand. This magnetism works through what Jung identified as autonomous complexes. In most, these inner patterns operate unconsciously, creating chaos in relationships. But in those with spiritual intelligence, the same mechanisms become refined. Their inner world transforms into a receiver tuned to the frequencies of purpose and truth. And yet, such a gift demands sharp discernment. Not every shiny thing is a divine message. Not every coincidence is fate. They must learn to distinguish genuine guidance from ego-driven fantasy, sacred timing from personal impatience. Without this clarity, their gift could devolve into delusion. With it, they become master navigators, sailing the sea of life with both trust and wisdom. Their presence in any group inevitably catalyzes change. They do not set out to provoke transformation, yet transformation occurs simply because they are there. They awaken questions others didn't know they held. Their authenticity becomes a mirror that forces others to look at their own disguises. Their light casts shadows that others must eventually face. This catalytic power flows not from intention, but from resonance. Your solitude is not an empty space, but a sacred workshop. As these individuals mature, a beautiful paradox emerges. The more extraordinary their capacities, the more ordinary they seem. The dramatic gives way to simplicity. What once felt mystical becomes their natural state. They stop seeing themselves as special, understanding their gifts as instruments for service, not trophies of superiority. This journey leads to what Jung called the return to simplicity. Having traveled the labyrinth of light and shadow, having integrated their depths and heights, they arrive at a profound ordinariness. Their power no longer shouts, it whispers. It expresses itself not in spectacle, but in quiet authenticity. They no longer seek approval. Their confidence comes from within, from the unshakable knowing that by being fully who they are, present, whole, and attuned, they are fulfilling their destiny. The mark they leave may never be counted in metrics or fame. It will be inscribed in the silent places, the hearts they comforted, the lives they gently altered, the souls they reminded of their own depth. This, perhaps, is the ultimate expression of spiritual intelligence. Through being, rather than commanding, they become walking prayers, embodied meditations, quiet examples of what it means to move through life with grace in a world consumed by noise. The solitude that once felt like banishment becomes a sanctuary. The sensitivity that once seemed a liability now shines as their greatest asset. The wisdom that once isolated them now stands as a remedy for an aching world. They learn to trust the intelligence moving through them, even when they can't rationalize it. They learn to value their uniqueness as design, not flaw. They embrace the mystery of their calling, knowing it may never be fully explained, even to themselves. If you have felt this resonance within, know that you, too, carry this lineage. Your sensitivity is not a weakness, but a strength. Your solitude is not abandonment, but renewal. Your scars are not flaws, but sacred inscriptions of wisdom. This path is not easy. It demands courage to believe in the unseen, faith to follow a trail that logic cannot map, and strength to remain authentic in a culture that rewards conformity. But for those who walk it, there is no other way. This intelligence is not an accessory. It is the core of your being. The invisible traits you carry are not random. They are assignments. They are not coincidences. They are callings from the deeper intelligence that animates all life. Trust the current flowing within you. Honor the sensitivity that defines you. Transform the pain that refines you. Communicate through silences that echo louder than words. Welcome the sacred meetings that find you. If these words have touched something deep within you, take a breath and feel into it. Which of these traits do you see most clearly in your own story? How have they guided your unfolding? Your narrative is important. Your experience validates others. Your courage to be visible inspires countless others to embrace their own hidden gifts. The journey continues. There are more layers of the psyche to explore, more hidden strengths to honor, more wisdom waiting to emerge. And as Jung often said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. If this exploration resonated with you, if it helped you see your own depth more clearly, then support this channel. Please like this video and make sure you're following Wake and Win for more journeys into the power of the mind. Your engagement helps this message reach others who need to hear it.